I wouldn't piss on Hollywood if it was on fire, whereas others have, different ideas. Hollywood is dying a very fast death. Therefore, we must institute a 100% tariff on anything made in foreign countries, because we want movies to be made in America again. Nah. Among other things, he says that incentives to have filmmakers make their movies in other countries is a national security threat, because, in addition to everything else, it's messaging and propaganda.
999, what's your emergency?
Are you f***ing kidding me?
Which is a weird thing to say, because when it comes to Hollywood, the propaganda is coming from inside the house.
Another case of a man taking credit for a woman's work.
I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work.
You're pure evil.
And you're just another man taking credit for a woman's work.
And I wouldn't even mind if the propaganda was pro-America like it used to be. Because quite frankly, the pro-American movies were better movies. Those days would be a big step up and would feel like a different reality from this, where even your movie critics websites are going, what happens to Hollywood when the US is no longer the good guy? For decades, the studios have tuned out movies that celebrated truth, justice, and the American way. But now, as Donald attacks allies, tears down democratic institutions, and cozies up to dictators, US exceptionalism is a hard sell on screen. The propaganda is coming from inside the house.
Inclusion rider. Come on!
And so as Hollywood collapses, as their ideology is so repulsive to good, upstanding, moral people, that they decided they don't want to watch Hollywood movies. They like the old, traditional morality of America, not the new Californian one, where, let's face it, what propaganda is going to come from outside America that Hollywood wouldn't like? That a man can beat a woman in a fight. And that knowledge can only come from a foreign nation because they know what one is.
What are you doing? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
So just as the death knell comes for the most horrific people in existence, along comes the big, impressive, mighty plan to save the pissing thing. So the first question we have to deal with is, are they even worth saving? Because there's a whole host of problems with this plan as a whole, second-order consequences that just were clearly not thought through and won't actually be effective. In fact, all the downsides of this are exactly things that you shouldn't want to happen. I've heard of shooting yourself in the foot, but this is more like getting annihilated by one of your own aircraft carriers. And I'm not even anti-tariff. A country can't compete with cheap foreign labour, so you increase the price of anything coming from their country to balance it out and keep a manufacturing base in your own country. I think it's a good idea. It just doesn't work that way in entertainment. A pencil made in any country can be exactly the same. Entertainment won't be. If you need proof of that, go and watch Devil's Plan. That show can only be made in Korea or other Asian countries. You ain't seen The Devil's Plan being made in Portland, I'm telling you. Not just because it's a smart show, but their culture, their temperament as people is actually one of the things that really contributes to the show itself. If you were loud, brash, and arguing, you would end up with an entirely different show because it comes from an entirely different culture. That's something that no amount of tariffs can change. It would inevitably cut America off from foreign entertainment. Quite frankly, actually at the moment, is far superior. But that's a different point. Is Hollywood worth saving? Hollywood has long had a side, and it was made very obvious who they supported, and it wasn't the guy in charge now. When you have big massive companies like Disney and Marvel getting their actors together to produce, that's right, propaganda against you.
Hey. Jumping on the call.
Whoa. I think you mean assembling.
It is our pleasure to come together and to get the vote out this election. Come on.
Yeah, how can we be of service?
I wouldn't care if they were in a job myself. In fact, I would want them to be out of a job so that better people can take over and create something that people actually want to see. And yet, he wants to talk to Hollywood. No, I want to make sure they're happy. I'm not looking to hurt them. I want to help them so that they can turn around and stab me in the back with massive swords. We're all about jobs and increasing jobs. And we're never going to ask whether those jobs are worthwhile or whether those jobs should even exist. We're just going to make them because more jobs, more good. Doesn't matter if those jobs destroy the country. More jobs, more good. It even says that there's no indication of whether this would even be applied to TV productions. It says, well, Hollywood doesn't do very much of that business. America makes a lot of TV shows. But it seems like this is less about the entertainment industry at large and purely about Hollywood. Makes it even stranger. This is like finding out that Satan is under your bed and you're like, hey, what are you doing there? You're not even paying rent. And rather than using that as an excuse to expel him from the area, some smart ass comes along and goes, wait. We can increase the rent of everybody else in the area and use those increased funds to pay for Satan. Like, no, I think you're missing the point. I don't want Satan there in the first place. And yet he's the one that pissing caring about. This is a place that cares less about jobs or the quality of their industry, making actual good things, and more about, 80% of characters portrayed by disabilities are actually made by able-bodied actors. I don't care. They're the kind of people that when someone goes, actually, I make movies to entertain, not to be artistic, films aren't even an art form, they're an entertainment medium, and you should give the people what they want. Basically, I don't want to make the people who give me money unhappy. And there's, he's just a fascist then. That's the ideology of Hollywood summed up in a tweet. And these are the people you want to save? Marvel uses Robert Downey Jr. to sell Ironheart ahead of the release, explains why Riri is more remarkable than Tony Stark. Hollywood is more concerned about giving you the medicine, teaching you what you should believe, rather than giving you what you want. Yeah, they don't believe it's an art form either. They believe it's a propaganda platform. Historically, Hollywood has played a double role in US soft power, to give the country global relevance as a source of popular culture that was attractive in its own right, and also to present America's ethical system and way of life as distinct from that of experienced elsewhere. I would say distinct and superior to that experience elsewhere. Hollywood told the world about the importance of democracy and the rule of law, even as it showcased the prosperity that the American-style capitalism delivered to ordinary citizens. It was American soft power. So even in that regard, I can understand why you want the propaganda to still come from inside the house. But why do you want Hollywood to do it? Why do you want people that are arrayed against you, that hate your guts and everything you stand for, to be the ones telling people what they should believe?
You mock that which is sacred.
I mock that which is absurd.
Most Europeans grew up with these images of a heroic cowboy or an American soldier coming to the rescue. But that looks quite differently now, with Donald cuddling up with Russia. And it is Hollywood, especially with these kind of tariffs, that will utilize their soft power to decide which of these two things the rest of the world gets to see, and their opinion of him. And in the time when they are less relevant than ever, less monetarily viable than ever, want to prop them up. Even with that, I have to ask, why? He says that other countries are offering all forms of incentives to draw filmmakers out. Well, one of the draws from around the world is the UK itself. And in the UK, we basically just knock the VAT off. And so you end up with relief of about 25.5%, or for animated films, 29.25%. Sounds like quite a lot, until you start comparing it to places in America, where Connecticut 10 to 30% with no cap. Delaware, 30%, although $1 million cap. Georgia, 30%, no cap. Hawaii, 27%, up to 50 million. Illinois, 30%, no cap. There are lots of places in America you can film with incentives greater than the UK. So the fact that people are still choosing to go over to the UK and fly all the people over there, rather than just going to a different state, already implies there's more than just incentives which are causing people to leave in the first place. The UK is a very expensive place to be. Wherever they film in London. It's an even more expensive place to be. If you want cheap movies to be made, the UK isn't the place to do it. And so then you start thinking, is your tariff going to even be effective? I mean, sure, it would make all foreign entertainment incredibly expensive, but would it save Hollywood? Or would they just start using these other states instead? Because Hollywood has its own incentive under California, where it is limited at 330 million, but also has a whole host of strings attached. Because it's California, they're pissing lunatics. This is why you don't prop up Hollywood in the first place.
What I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Hey, Bob, is that clear? I hope it is.
California tax credits actually attaches you to a whole load of racist discriminatory practices as a matter of law. So it requires applicants to provide statistics on gender, ethnic, and racial makeup of their workforce, a written policy outlining the applicant's procedures for dealing with unlawful harassment in the workplace. Like, what? Was there really that much harassment in Hollywood that you had to tie giving them money to, can you please stop buggering the staff? And this is just the 2020 version, because in 2025 it changed, where it created new diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility requirements. 4% now of the awarded applicant's credit is contingent on submission and approval of achieving DEIA goals. If these requirements are not met, they're stripped of money. They must submit these discriminatory work plans and make sure that the movie reflects California's population in terms of race, ethnicity, gender, disability status. As always, they deem these things to be disabilities, utterly the same thing, and how the applicant intends to fill them. Work plans may not include quotas or other numerical goals regarding any protected class, because this is illegal. You can't say you're going to do it, you've just got to tell us how you're going to do it. And then you must prove that you made a good faith attempt to be racist to actually get government money in California. And this, what they want to prop up. We are going to essentially ban entertainment for the rest of the world. That's what doubling the cost of something does. You're trying to ban it without outlawing it by making it too difficult to obtain or afford, which would just send piracy through the roof. But the thing you want to replace that with is racism. I mean, it's very Californian, don't get me wrong. I'm just surprised this is something you'd want to support. I mean, the California Film Commission has it just plastered on its own website. Because if you had a 100% tariff and make any kind of tax incentive in other countries redundant, well, they're still going to go for tax incentives, just to decide where they go within the US. And tax incentives in America involve bigotry. And as Californian or Hollywood requires that movies all look like California, well, now you can't even make most of the movie. You can't make a Roman movie. It's got to look like modern day California. You can't make a movie set in the 70s in the UK because it's got to look like California. One of the worst places in the world to make a movie is California. And yet that's the only place he seems to be trying to save.
What are you going to do to stop the crazies?
And the thing is, I'm not even sure it'd do that even if it happened. Because yes, there's a lot of money in movies. $8.5 billion a year. But at the moment, the budgets are $200 million on the regular. Quite often going into 3 or even more money. And those are the budgets that they get when they go abroad and take advantage of tax incentives from other countries. So now you're cutting out any monetary incentive to leave, and you're bringing them back to very expensive places to film like California, which will cause the budgets to rise. And so yes, $8.5 billion is a lot of money in cinema, but the companies won't be making money. Marvel has been losing money already on the lower budgets from other countries. You increase those budgets even more, and they'll simply be losing more money. They won't be getting more viewers because it's not going to cause more people to watch Hollywood. People watch what they like, and there's plenty of other things they could be doing. They can watch YouTube, they can watch old TV shows, they can go outside and touch grass, as horrific as that thought may be. What they won't be doing is going and watching terrible movies that hates them and is pushing an evil morality as good. And that's what a tariff is meant to do. It's meant to prop up Hollywood by making everything else too expensive. But that'll simply reduce the competition that Hollywood has. It reduces any reason for them to compete, any reason for them to change. Even if they do magically get more customers. But they'll just double down on what they're doing. The same message as before. The same horrific, putrid propaganda, which has been coming from inside the house. And that is one of the other issues with going, I want to save their jobs. Why? The only way you're going to save Hollywood is if the people inside Hollywood lose their pissing jobs. And I'm not talking about the cameramen or the people that do the lights, the set dressers or the costume workers. Although if they stick any more men in dresses, I will be talking about the costume workers. It's the script writers, the people with creative decisions, the top people. They're the ones that need to lose their jobs. They're the ones you'll be propping up with this, or attempting to. And you'll be propping things up like the WGA or the IATSE.
I deserve starvation wages.
We will not allow you to take away our dignity.
Basic troublemakers within your industry, which is killing your entertainment industry. You want to save Hollywood? Ban them. Take the unions and smash them. If you're a good enough person, you would be better off negotiating your own contracts individually with a company like a normal person. What unions do is drag everyone down to the lowest levels while all the people at the top profit. It's exactly the opposite of what you want in a competitive industry. And yet America is some of the worst. And I say that in UK, where hours are bad. And that's why I wonder if this was even thought through before it was announced, or whether he just heard something, went, that's a great idea. Jobs for Americans, I want jobs for Americans, and sent out the tweet. Without actually thinking of, are we sure this is what we're supposed to be doing? Is this going to achieve anything? Or is all it's going to achieve bad for us and bad for the nation? Having a place like Hollywood pump out poison into your entertainment isn't good for a nation. It's not good for a people. Definitely not good for a culture. It's one of the reasons that I separate tariffs from this from like a steel industry, where I could understand the point of previous ones. But it is strange that this came out at the same time that we found out that Jon Voight had come out with a plan. Now, this included federal incentives, cultural tests, which again, I support. I do think American movies should obviously be American. Increased write-offs and harsh tariffs on overseas incentives. Oh, isn't that weird? That's a coincidence right there, isn't it? He wants to see Hollywood thrive. Of course he does. He's in it. He's like, I want jobs for me, my daughter, and all my friends. But is that a good thing, though? I don't know enough about you, John, to have an opinion on you, but what about all the other snakes?
Really wish that we could get it to you guys, but we need to stand on the right side of history.
Snakes, of course.
Now, he wanted a federal tax credit that is stackable with what other states provide. Again, no problem with incentives. Then he asked for a tariff to be placed equal to 120% of the value of the incentive received. So if they give you 100 million, well, we'll give you a 220 million fine, which obviously would just make anyone turn down tax incentives from other countries. But skip any fine. This would have an impact on things like the UK, where we're a very expensive country, but also would still allow you to film in places like Hungary, where it's just cheaper to exist. But Voight had already sat down with various different people, such as unions, officials, executives earlier in the year, and then his plan was given out at Mar-a-Lago on Saturday, which again is why I ask, did you think about this, or were you just given the plan and immediately went, more jobs? Jobs good. I'm gonna do it. It's just an issue. Don't think about any of the second order effects. Like how your enemies will exploit that. It already had Gavin Newsom coming out and going, yes, I'm gonna come out and save Hollywood. I'm gonna be there and save the tariffs. This is the same guy which is there actually requiring racist discrimination to get any of his tax credits in the first place. But it doesn't matter what the reality is, it only matters the perception of reality, as that's what people remember and act on in the future when they go to the polls. And a lot of people will never know what is actually tied to his tax credits. What they'll see is a guy coming out trying to save our movie industry, save our lads' jobs. And it was the tweet that gave him the ability to come out and do this and make himself look good. We're eager to partner with the administration to further strengthen our domestic production and make America film again. He's nicking your slogans. He gets to go, oh, look at me. I'm the benevolent God that will walk across the aisle to deal with the people in charge, to save my people's jobs. And what do they see you coming back in return? Calling him grossly incompetent for allowing the film industry to slip. And it doesn't matter if it's true, because it only matters the image that people see. And it could have been pitched as, oh, we want to bring filming back, but we're not going to send it to Hollywood. They've decimated the film industry. Have you seen their morals? Have you seen what the people there have done? Have you heard the stories of what happens behind closed doors there? We're not going to save Hollywood, no. We're going to make sure this goes out to the rest of America, to other states. We're going to try and help states that need it, that could do with the boost from the American film industry. And that's not what they got. Instead, what you get is him talking about other nations stealing movies. And, you know, he's been thinking about this for at least a week. Hollywood is being destroyed, something you should be celebrating. Well, other nations have stolen our movie industry. And other governments, they're actually supporting movies being made financially. And that's a threat to our country, because we can't be bothered. Now, I'm not normally one to agree with the Hollywood Reporter. Everyone loses seems to be the most accurate statement. Hollywood won't be saved because, if anything, this will reduce their competition, increase their budgets, and they're just going to double down on crap, because now they don't have to compete with foreign entertainment industries, which are actually making good quality things. No one will go and see it because there isn't actually reduced competition as they compete against everything else, and they won't increase their quality. It does obviously harm everyone else's entertainment industries, even South Korea now, because they just make their stuff to sell to Netflix, with the aim of it going to a worldwide audience, including America. And it's tough to even see other American states actually gain from this, because where's the talent going to come from? Say talent. It's going to be Hollywood. All the script writers, the companies, the people with the budgets, they're still going to come from the same place. They're still going to have the same ideas. They'll film in your states for a while, right, until they go bankrupt. And of course, the customers lose out on this, because if they want to watch foreign good entertainment, they're going to have to pay double for it. And if they don't want to pay that price, they've either got to go to illegal sites or be left with American productions. Well, we've seen the quality of those recently. The best solution to me, obviously, seems to be let Hollywood die. Before this, Hollywood was set to become the new Detroit, as it puts the city's movie industry on the brink. The Hollywood Reporter came out with a very similar article title as well. And that's a good thing. And again, I don't mean the workers that have no decision-making powers, but you do need the people at the top to go through such monetary strife that they get fired, finally. And then they could start resurrecting the industry. Then they could actually start making good movies when the money would pour in, and then everybody else and all the other jobs can come back. But it comes back naturally because it's wanted, because laws of supply and demand that you can't falsify or trick with tariffs. The tariffs are in an attempt to avoid this, to dodge it, to keep the train running for another month. But you're not solving the problem. You're putting a plaster on a gaping wound. And rather than bailing them out, I think you should let them fail. They have no one to blame but themselves. And only when they realize that the problem is coming from inside the house, and then just start cutting away at all the rotten flesh so the wound can heal. They need competent people in charge, moral people in charge. People don't believe in their current failed ideology. It's the way you save Hollywood. But of all the people that I didn't think would try, it'd be this. And like ever, when you dig into this, what do you find? Oh yeah, it comes from an actor. Somebody who's saying, basically, we need more jobs for me. We need more money for me. We need to preserve the industry that benefits me. As always in this case, whenever somebody pitches a horrific idea, it's always self-interest. In Hollywood, I've yet to find an example where it isn't. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I'd quite like to try and pull off an elf.